Good morning, and welcome to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. I am the Reverend Mitra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you here as we gather as best we can in these difficult and uncertain times. For today's service, one of our families has recorded an at-home chalice lighting. I hope that you are able to watch that video and join with them in lighting a chalice. But I thought we would start this part of our offering by inviting you into a ritual that we've been using at St. John's for many years now. If you're not familiar with it, I'd like to explain it, and then I would like to place some stones in the bowl. When we come together every week, we bring with us whatever joys or sorrows, whatever brightness or sadness the week has given us. And we come into community and we have a ritual while Peng Chang plays the prelude. We have a ritual of placing stones to lay down those joys and sorrows that we might make community together. So I invite people forward to choose a stone from the bowl, and there are many different colors and sizes and shapes and textures. So people can choose what suits them and their mood. Many people choose more than one. And then we place it in the bowl of sand. This current arrangement is left from the last time we gathered. It reminds us that we are a mosaic people, each beautiful in our own right, and together something altogether more and more beautiful. So that's our ritual, the sharing of joys and sorrows through the placing of stones in a common dish. So today I'd like to place just 3 stones and tell you a little bit about each of them. The first is this one. This is a stone. Actually, it's not a stone. That's the secret. This is actually a tree nut that is being cultivated to replace ivory. So it is sustainably grown and harvested. And all of the cultural traditions around carving ivory can be preserved in this tree nut without any of the cruelty or the harm done when ivory is harvested from animals. This was brought in by Anne, and it is beautiful, and it has been held by many of us. Today I place this stone to honor our sorrows, and in doing so, let us be honest with the time that we share, with the reality that when we are hurting, it seems like forever, but it is really but a moment. The next offering is a fossil. This was brought in by Amelia. And I find that the thing about fossils is that children are often quick to say how much they delight in finding fossils or in keeping fossils. And the secret is that adults delight just as much. We're just quieter about it. But Amelia found this right here in the Cincinnati area. It's a marine fossil from I can't even imagine how long ago. And I'm sure that there was a lot of joy and a lot of laughter when it was found, and she gave it with a good heart in hopes that we would enjoy it also. So I'm placing this stone for the joys that we share. Let us be honest that even in times of stress and anxiety, there are still joys to share. There is still a beautiful life to be lived. And let us be honest that, like anything else, joy doesn't last forever. So when you find it, treasure it, share it, seek to increase it. And the final stone is a piece of labradorite. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but labradorite is a special stone because it sort of glows from within. It is streaked with beautiful blues and greens and golds. It's quite luminescent. Not technically, but you know what I mean. At St. John's, we have had a long history of excellent musicians. One of them, Adam, left us to go do other things in life. And we were sad to see him go, but we were happy that life offered him other things. And when he left, we placed one piece of labradorite in the bowl of stones and sent him with another. This stone is to represent the gathered community wherever you are. May we be honest that each of us has a light that shines from within, a fire that burns deep. It can be used to warm, or it can be used to burn. It can be used to gather in the people and to light our way forward. I place this stone in honor of the community. And we light this lamp and begin our time together. When we were still able to gather, I had imagined that I would do a sermon today based around St. Augustine's quote. He was describing our inner searching, our inner religious life by saying, "Restless is our heart." Well, if you're like me and you're stuck at home, or your contact with other people is severely limited, I'm imagining that restless is your heart is taking on whole new levels of meaning. I had a very rough Tuesday. I don't know about you all, but Tuesday, just the enormity of all of this fell on me. And then we had rain. And then the rain was followed by rain, so I really couldn't get out at all. Thankfully, eventually, I got out. I walked the dog. I was honestly totally surprised by the number of flowers that were blooming. The daffodils are always there, right? They come up and they just trumpet loudly that spring is here, and they are showy and they are bright, and they are somewhat resilient when the weather of spring goes this way and that. But out for a walk, I saw hyacinths. Maybe they didn't fare too well in the storm, but I saw Lenten rose, sheltered, the way they kind of grow facing down, close to the ground, sheltered under their leaves. And I saw an entire patch of forget-me-nots. I love these little flowers. These are the little blue cups with the yellow centers, and when you see them en masse, the tininess of them disappears for this overall effect of this beautiful reflection of the sky. It's like each little cup has captured the sun and the sky and is holding it in its petals. And I think of the poem by Robert Frost who says, "Why make so much of fragmentary blue, and here or there a bird or butterfly or flower or wearing stone or open eye, when heaven presents in sheets the solid hue." Restless is our heart, right? Restless is our heart. I think some of us are restless because that's just our nature. I grew up moving from place to place every few years, and staying in one place takes an effort, takes a determination. Maybe for some of you, if you grew up moving so often, all you want to do is root and be still in one place. And maybe if you grew up staying in one place, all you want to do is travel, is to get out and go and be in another place every few years. Restless is our heart. It can mean so many different things. I think when it comes to religion, it gets complicated because the temptation is out there in a culture dominated by consumerism to go from one thing to another, to taste lightly of this tradition or that, without ever really getting into the depth, without ever really exploring the difficulties and the beauty in a way that roots us deeply to a place, in a way that holds us close to a tradition. Being stuck at home, being so surprised that life is going on outside, being reminded that the sky above us is still blue. All these things have me thinking about how we tend our restless heart. And maybe no matter who you are or what your circumstances are, you can choose to be rooted where you are. You can tend to the ecosystem that's right there around you. And I'm deliberate in saying the ecosystem that's around you because some of us live in places with great woods and great beauty, and some of us are deep in suburbia, and some of us live in condos or apartment buildings. Every place, any place you find yourself is going to have opportunities for connection, to rejoin the human community, to rejoin with nature in some fashion, if we pay attention and are aware. So I invite you to take this time in the week to come and do that work of connecting more deeply with where you are. Being home has reminded me of some things I'm aware of, but I just don't pay that much attention to. So I wanted to show you this planter and tell you a little of the story of what has happened here. This lovely blue planter was actually given to me by the board, and it was full of plants and flowers 5 years ago when my father passed away. Over the years, it's had different things in it. Most recently, it was sitting on the porch, and it was filled with red geraniums for the summertime. And they were bright, and they were beautiful, and they were gorgeous. And like everything in its time, they died, and I didn't really move the planter. It kind of sat out there for a while, empty. Eventually, I brought it in, and I planted pothos. This is a plant that I like because I apparently can't kill it. It just keeps growing and growing. So I stuck the pothos in it and put it in the window and just let it do what it does. Obviously, my cat's been helping herself to part of it. But before I knew it, I had this little tiny stand of oak trees growing. I have four little oak saplings here. Apparently, the squirrels were busy. When the geranium died, they got right to work planting their acorns. Now, the thing about this is the oak trees are doomed. I hate to be so blunt, but they're kind of doomed because oaks want to grow deep. They want to root deeply. They want to anchor firmly to the earth. And this pot is never going to do it for them. It's too shallow, it's too broad, it's just not the right thing at all. For the pothos, this is great. This is exactly what it needs. The pothos has no problem going around in circles. The oak trees need a different reality. I suspect that we're all different, that we all have different levels of restlessness, different ways to center. Some of us are like the oak and need to go deep and understand our religious tradition in all its complexities. And some of us would prefer go broad, would prefer look for the commonalities in different traditions and enjoy the quest from one thing to another as we circle back around. It's not that one is better than the other, it's just that you should know who you are and how you are rooted. And this helps address the restlessness of the heart. The other thing I realized being stuck at home is that I had had this lovely prayer plant for a season or two, and I had had it sitting out kind of in the middle of things where it was well appreciated. I decided to hang it from a hook in the kitchen where apparently I forgot about it, so I wanted to show you that plant too. And this is how it turned out. This is not the ideal condition for any plant to be in. This is what happens when you are not mindful of your environment. This is what happens when you realize that you have forgotten to water the plant and Lord only knows how long, and then you flood it with water. I don't think all hope is lost here. I'd like to maybe try repotting some of this and see if it grows. And, hopefully that will happen. But here's the thing, friends. If we are going to be community together in a beautiful mosaic, right now Caring for each other means keeping our distance. Keeping our distance might mean more restlessness and more angst and frustration. Might not. But if it does, I invite you to root more deeply where you are. I invite you to tend to your environment. If you're in an apartment, check on your neighbors. One of you told me that about playing a Scrabble game with a neighbor sitting on either end of a table, pushing the board back and forth between you. Other people have come up with other creative ways. My husband and I are going to a dinner party tonight on Zoom with a couple of our friends. We had done a very poor job of getting together when we thought we had to drive to be together. But when we can get together virtually, suddenly it's much easier. Find the ways that you can connect with the earth, with nature, inside your home, outside your home. Find ways that you can connect with each other. This is what will settle the heart. This is what will help us grow. I will see you again next week. Until then, be well.